women are, like I said, they're attacked, they're raped. They show, their bodies show a lot of burnt, the places where they've been burned, signs of torture. They're pretty much just laid in a deserted area in the city, and sometimes they're not even found until months later, where the body has already been decomposed and they cannot identify the victim. And so there has been little investigation on it, just because the society has chosen to blame the women for it. And so when they put the blame on the women, then if they want the killings to stop, then the women should stay at home, and the women should go right to their home right after work. They shouldn't be out late at night. Any questions about this? No? Any thoughts? Okay. And so pretty much how women. Oh yes, sorry.
So you're saying that the government's response to like the attacks are like blaming women, pretty much? That they
Yeah, there's a documentary, I'm not sure if it's Señorita Extraviada, but there's a documentary where actually someone from the government does state, it's like, he says, okay, well, if this is happening to women, what are they doing late at night? What were they wearing? Like, he starts questioning and making you think, oh, okay, yeah, it's true, what were they doing at 1 in the morning, you know? Well, they were getting out of work, and he doesn't see that. So a lot of the government, what they do is that because they can't get the killers or the people who are responsible for it, they tend to set the blame on the women, and so that pretty much lets, or kind of loses the pressure on them to find the killers.
Yeah, I was watching actually a report. There's a Mexican reporter on Spanish channel. Her name's Teresa Rodriguez, and she went to Mexico and she was investigating things like that, which is very dangerous because Mexican government doesn't want people to do that. And she interviewed a mom, and her daughter went missing, and she was a young girl. She went to school, and she was working, and when she went missing, she called the cops, and she reported her daughter missing, right? And they told her, no, she probably ran away with her boyfriend. She was probably a prostitute. She probably went clubbing. Like, something might have happened to her. She'll come back. And that was that. They never called her back. They never went and, tried to investigate anything. That was that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's pretty much what the government is doing. And it's not just like a Mexico thing. Like, it is because a lot of these companies, well, most of the companies are U.S. owned. So there's a lot of things of how is it even ethical for the U.S. to have all these restrictions in human rights when they're doing and they're violating those overseas just because it's not in their land. So does is ethnic bound to your area and to your nation, So the way these violence and harassment is maintained is through systems of patriarchy and capitalism. And so we're going to go into patriarchy. And patriarchy literally means ruled by the father, and it refers just to older men being the ones in power and being in charge of decision making. And again, like most of the maquiladoras are owned by men in Mexico, and in the United States it's by white rich males. And so the Mexican culture is structured within a patriarchal order, and we can see that in Machismo and Marianismo. And I'm sure all of you are familiar with Machismo, and it's just pretty much symbolizes male's aggression, and it pretty much excuses it or normalizes it. And they exercise their power as men. And Marianismo, I don't know if you're that familiar with, but it's pretty much focuses on how women are to be compassionate and how women are nurturing and how women should pretty much, at the end of the day, put up with everything because that's how women are. And so this promotes self-sacrifice for the family, attending the children, and like I said, to the husband. And so the next system is capitalism, and pretty much capitalism increases profits by cutting down labor costs, and obviously this affects women since they're a big percentage they make up a big percentage of the workforce in the maquilas. It also places maquiladoras in areas where unskilled workers live. Therefore, it makes them feel more disposable, because if you're not relying on your skills, or pretty much your skills are pretty much what everybody else can do. So it's not limited to just speaking English, or using a computer, or doing this. It's pretty much things that anybody can do, so you're disposable. It maintains low wages for working conditions. It is also, like I said, white rich men that control the maquiladora industry, and thus the wages that women receive. And so both of these systems of make up patriarchal capitalism, and that's where white rich men control the means of production and the control of women themselves. And so women experience discrimination because of their gender, and that they are oppressive, and they're oppressed on the basis of inequality, of gender inequality. And also women experience discrimination for their gender and what they are oppressed as basis of intersections of inequality. And that's all. Any questions?